Okay, on the warm-up question, it said to write the equation of the line that passes through the given points in slope-intercept form. So they gave us some coordinate points over here, and to find the slope, all we really need to do is find our change in y over change in x. So in order to do that, our formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And this would be my x1, y1. This would be the x2, y2. And then I just need to take all those pieces, come plug them into this formula that we just wrote down. So our y2 would be negative 6 minus our y1, which is negative 3, over x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is 4. So in the top, we see here we've got a negative followed by another negative, and we know that two negatives make a positive. So this is really negative 6 plus 3, which would give us negative 3, over 3 minus 4, which would give us negative 1. And negative 3 divided by negative 1 will simplify to positive 3, which gives us m, or our slope. All right, and if we're writing this equation, now that we have our slope, we can use the rules that we learned last time to help find the b, or the y-intercept. So we could pick either coordinate point to plug in for our x and y. Maybe we pick this first one here. So we know that the equation of a line in slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So we're just going to plug in what we know. So in place of y, we can plug in negative 3. We just found out that our slope m was positive 3. In place of x, we can plug in 4. And then we still have that plus b on the end. So first thing we would want to do here is multiply these two terms together. So we would have negative 3 is equal to 12 plus b. And then to get b by itself, we would just subtract 12. And negative 3 minus 12 would give us negative 15. So b is equal to negative 15. So now we have our b, we have our m. So we can write the equation of the line is y equals m, which was 3x minus 15. And there's the equation of our line. All right. So it says that when you are given 2 or more points, you can also use the stat function in your calculator to find the equation of the line. So that's going to be helpful, so that we don't have to do all of this up here every time we want to find slope. We can do it in our calculator. So these are the steps that it gives us. It says our step 1 is to go to stat in our calculator. Step 2 is to be sure that the word edit is highlighted at the top and press enter. Step 3, clear out anything that's in list 1 and list 2. And to do that, up arrow and highlight list 1, press clear and enter, arrow over, up, arrow into list 2, highlight it, clear, and enter. List all of your x values in list 1 and press enter after each one is our step 4. Step 5 is to arrow over and enter your y's in list 2, pressing enter after each value. And then step 6 is to go back to stat. This time, arrow over and highlight the word calc, and then choose number 4 that says linear regression, and in parentheses ax plus b. Arrow down to the word calculate, and press enter. Okay, so we're going to give that a try on these problems down here. Okay, so we got our list over here in front of us, so I'm going to pull up my calculator. Alright, so I want to make sure we can see our coordinate points. Oh, it's getting real big. One more time. Alright. Okay, so it says the first thing that we need to do is press stat, select edit, and to do that you just press enter. And then if there's anything in your list, you have to clear it out. So I have some stuff in my list. To do that, I just arrow up and highlight where it says L1, press clear, and press enter. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to list 2. Highlight where it says L2, press clear, enter. All right. So now that we've cleared everything out, we can move on to step 4. And that's where we enter our x's in list 1. So if these are my coordinate points over here, the x value in the first coordinate point is -5. So I type in -5 and I have to press enter so it'll save it. In the second coordinate point, my x value is 5. So I type in 5 and press enter. Alright, then it says for step 5, you're going to do the same thing for the y's in list 2. So my first y value in that coordinate point was -5. So we type in -5 and press enter. And then my second y value was 7. So I type in 7 and press enter. Okay, once we have everything typed into our lists, it says that we then need to press Stat again. So go back to that button, Stat. This time arrow over to where it says Calc, and it says we're going to choose number 4. It says linear regression. Oops, went past it. Number 4 that says linear regression AX plus B. Alright, and then we press enter to choose it. Then it says arrow down to where it says calculate. Press enter. And then it finds the equation of the line for us. So A is what we usually say is M. That means the same thing. And our B, they gave us as well. So all we did here was type our x values in list 1, which were -5 and 5. This is in L1 there. And then we typed our y values in list 2, which were -5 and 7. And once we followed all those steps up there, we ended up getting that A, which is the same thing as M, remember, was equal to 1.2. And then we had that our B was equal to 1. Okay, now if we were actually going to graph this, we would not want to put our slope as a decimal because then we don't know exactly how much up and over to go when graphing. So we can always just go type our decimal in our calculator, math, enter, enter, and it'll convert it for us. So it does become 6/5. So the equation of this line would just be y equals 6/5x, and then our b was a +1. All right, same thing for number 3. Gonna have to list those x values and y values. So I go ahead and pick out my x's, which are -2 and 4. And then my y values are 5 and 8. So I go back into my calculator, we press Stat, and then Edit. Then we have to go up and clear our list. So you highlight the L2, clear, enter, go over and do the same thing to L1, clear, enter. All right, then we enter our x values in list 1, so -2, press enter, 4, enter. Then we go over to our list 2, we got 5, enter, 8, enter. Once we have everything in our lists, we then press Stat again. This time go over to Calc and go down to number 4 and choose number 4, linear regression. Go down to where it says calculate and press enter. All right, so we got that our A or our M is 0.5 and our B is 6. Again, we don't like to leave our slope as a decimal, but we all know that the decimal 0.5 can be turned into the fraction 1/2. So the equation of our line would be y equals 1/2 x plus 6. All right. Then on to number 4, where we're going to practice those same steps again. They already have the lists made for us. So remember, we're going to put these in list 1 and these in list 2. So in our calculator, we're going to press Stat, Edit. We got to go in there and clear out whatever we currently have in both of our lists. And then we're ready to type in our values. So in list 1, we've got -2, -1, 0, and 3. In my list 2, I've got 1, 3, 5, and 11. Be sure you're pressing enter after each one so it'll save it in your list. Alright, once we've got all of our numbers typed into our list, we press Stat. This time we arrow over to Calc and choose number 4, Linear Regression. Go down to Calculate and press enter. We get that our A, or what we call M, is 2 and that B is 5. So I got that M is 2 and B equals 5. So the equation of our line would be y equals 2x plus 5. All right. Then we flip it over onto the back. And it says, what is the y-intercept of the line graphed below? Record your answer and fill in the bubbles on the grid. Well, if we look at the picture, we could probably make a pretty good guess as to where that falls. It looks like it's somewhere between 5 and 6, maybe slightly closer to the 6. But again, that would just be an estimated answer. So we're going to use the process we just learned to help us find the y-intercept. So I have these 2 coordinate points that I just am going to go put into my lists. So x values are -2 and 6. Y values are 7 and 1. So we're just going to type these into our calculators like we just did on the previous problems. So we go in to Stat, Edit, go in and clear whatever is currently in your lists, and type your new x values in list 1, which would be -2, and 6. And then in list 2, you put your y values, which are 7 and 1. Once we have those in there, all we have to do is go over to Stat. This time, highlight Calc and choose number 4. Arrow down to where it says Calculate and press enter. Okay, so we get that our A is -0.75 and our B is 5.5. Okay, so our A, or M, was -0.75 and our B is 5.5. Alright, and we know that B is the one that represents the y-intercept. So that would mean that the y-intercept is at 5.5, or the coordinate point 0, 5.5. Either one would work. Okay, and it did give us a place to bubble that in. So it is a positive value at 5.5. And you could bubble in zeros towards the end if you'd like. All right, number 6 says which function has the point -4, -2 on its graph? So we would either have to get them all in slope-intercept form to put them into our calculator, which is going to take some solving on answer choices A and C, or we could just take this coordinate point and plug it in for x and y and see which makes a true statement. So if I did that here, I would have 3 times -4 minus 2 times -2 equals -16. So if I type all of this in my calculator, 3 times -4 is going to give us -12. And -2 times -2 is +4. Well, -12 plus 4 is not equal to 16, so it cannot be answer choice A. And we would do the same thing for each of these. So on answer choice B, I would have -2 is equal to 3 halves times -4 minus 4. So I'd have -2 is equal to 3 halves times -4, which is -6. And -6 minus 4 is not equal to -2, so it can't be that one. So we move on to answer choice C, which would be 3 times -4 minus 2 times -2 equals -8. So I got -12 plus 4 equals -8. Well, -12 plus 4 is -8, so we found the one that works. And you could check answer choice D the same way.